Okay, so let's talk about the security guard that's protecting your computer like 24/7. You probably never even see it, but it's there, making these super critical decisions every single second you're online. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the Windows Defender firewall and figure out what it's actually doing for you.
And you know what? Microsoft gives us the absolute perfect way to think about this. Imagine your firewall is a digital security guard. Its entire job is to stand at the main gates to your computer's network and just meticulously check the ID of every little piece of data that tries to get in or out.
So, what are these doors our guard is watching? Well, in the digital world, we call them network ports. And your computer has literally thousands of them. Each one is a potential doorway for a specific task, right? Like one for browsing the web, another one for sending email. The firewall's job is to be the ultimate bouncer, enforcing a really strict access policy on every single one of those doors.
Now, here's where it gets really, really smart. This security guard doesn't just use the same rulebook everywhere. Oh no, its level of alertness, its protocol, it changes completely depending on where you are. It basically operates from 3 different security posts, and each one has its own set of rules.
And this table here breaks down those 3 posts perfectly. You got your private profile, that's for networks you trust, like at your home or your office. Then there's the public profile, for places you don't trust, like a coffee shop or the airport. And finally, the domain profile, which is usually for big corporate networks managed by an IT department. The key thing to get here is how that level of trust changes everything.
So, let's say you're at home, connected to your Wi-Fi. That's a private network, so the guard is in a high trust mode. It kind of assumes that the other devices on the network, your printer, your smart TV, are all friendly neighbors. It's still on duty, of course, but it's way more relaxed, which allows for easy stuff like file sharing between your devices. But the second you connect to the public Wi-Fi at a library or cafe, the firewall instantly switches over to the public profile. And this is its highest security alert. The guard now trusts absolutely nothing. It basically locks down almost all incoming connections by default, and that shields you from all sorts of potential threats lurking on that shared network. There's a very, very good reason this is the default setting.
Okay, so if the guard is that strict, you might be wondering, how does anything useful get through? Well, you're the one in charge of the guest list. You get to decide which specific apps, which guests, are pre-approved to talk to the outside world.
If you dig into the firewall settings, you'll find this whole list of your apps. Allowing one through is kind of like handing your guard a VIP list. By ticking a box, you're telling the guard, hey, this app right here, it's allowed to communicate, but only when we're on a trusted private network. Or, much less often, you might allow it on a public one. It gives you this amazing, fine-tuned control.
Now, you're going to see a big, simple on-off switch for each of these profiles. And believe me, it can be really tempting to just flip it off if some program isn't working right. It's like telling your security guard to just go on an indefinite coffee break. But we need to be crystal clear about why that's a terrible idea.
And this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the single most critical point of this whole explainer. Unless you are an IT professional who knows exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it, you should never, ever turn the firewall off. Disabling it is like firing your guard and leaving the front door of your house wide open with a sign that says, "Come on in." That guard has to stay on duty, period. Now, for those of you who do have that kind of expertise, there's a whole other level of control waiting for you. Think of it like walking past the guard at the front gate and stepping into the security supervisor's office. You know, the command center, where all the really complex rules and detailed logs are kept. This advanced settings area is really not a place for casual clicking. It's where you can build these incredibly specific, custom rules for individual ports for different services and protocols. For the vast majority of us, the basic settings are more than enough. This section is strictly for the power users out there.
And for those power users watching, here's a fantastic little shortcut. Instead of clicking through a bunch of menus, just type wf.msc into your search bar or the run command. Boom, it takes you straight to that advanced security console. It's a great pro tip to have in your back pocket.
All right, let's just quickly recap the main points here. First, your firewall is your PC's tireless digital security guard. Second, it's smart. It uses different rules depending on whether you're on a trusted private network or an untrusted public one. And most important of all, that guard needs to stay on duty. Always. You have to keep your firewall turned on.
And that really brings us to the final crucial question.
It only takes a few seconds to pop into your settings and just make sure that your first line of defense is actually active and doing its job. So I'll just leave you with this one thought. Is your digital guard on duty?